I have this button on my soundboard for a purpose. It sounds like a ball striking the head pin, which causes the other pins to fly. Oh, such a lovely sound. It never fails to delight and surprise. Nvidia bowled a strike last night, and stocks of all kinds rocked, vibrated, skidded, and caressed in a symphony of exquisite sound today. The average story, the 10, saw the Nasdaq rise 0.3% and the Dow leap 6 points, starting at 0.53%. In the years, Nvidia has been battling Apple and Microsoft for the title of largest corporation in the world. At the moment, Nvidia and Apple are in a head-to-head match, with Nvidia spending $3.5 trillion and Apple spending $3.45 trillion. Yes, identifying Apple as the winner is correct. With drop-offs far greater than anticipated, Microsoft has abruptly slipped well behind on the standings. Without a doubt, Nvidia's victory last night is putting some separation between it and the competition. As recently as 2 years ago, when its market capitalization was only $500 billion, very few people had even heard of the corporation. Thus, the numbers are astounding. Last quarter, Nvidia made $35 billion in sales, generated $20 billion in net profits, and maintained a 75% gross margin. Those figures are absurdly high. Absurdly, an incredible ramp-up. Now, a year ago, a lot of people were saying that Nvidia was ridiculously costly, with its stock price 50 times its projected earnings. I was made fun of for supporting the ostensibly overpriced semiconductor stock. It turns out that Nvidia was only trading at 20 times anticipated earnings a year ago when we look at the actual statistics. These outcomes were that amazing. It was cheap, cheap, cheap in hindsight. When a business exceeds the projections, that is what occurs. Additionally, Nvidia has been outperforming the projections for 10 years, as I have shown time and time again. Extremely costly? No, that makes great sense. Nvidia's stock is that one. I've liked it for so long because of it. What do they do? It turns out that Nvidia is pursuing 2 different projects: artificial intelligence and faster computing. All of this is taking place because CEO Jensen Huang and his staff are, in a sense, the greatest bowlers of all time. My amazing companion Carl Quintanilla began this morning's asterisk squawk on the street asterisk by asking me what I thought of Nvidia's quarter. I was muted at the time, and the stock was down a few bucks. I wasn't overhyping a stock I've supported to the point of mockery. I was clinical. Since I'm not very good at it, I took a moment to sit back and say, to be honest, I've never seen anything like what's happening at Nvidia. Never. Never, ever. I stated that this stock really does not reflect the seismic shift that is taking place here, even if it was down and 19 firms raised their price goals this morning. As you can see, Nvidia is upending our entire understanding of business. Superlatives are limited when discussing the demand for their technology. It's been referred to be mad. It's been referred to as gigantic. Stunting was the key term last night. Even Jensen, I believe, is having trouble coming up with analogies right now. For instance, he claimed that the iPhone was a brand new application for the newest and finest processor, Blackwell. The iPhone. That's what he compared it to. The iPhone is, in our opinion, a once-in-a-lifetime invention. However, you discover that the iPhone can be smaller in comparison when you listen to the Nvidia call. Too little. No matter how groundbreaking, that was ultimately just one gadget. Chips from Nvidia. The world as we know it is being remade. The computer power that needs to be replaced by Nvidia is worth $1 trillion. The Nvidia Omniverse requires the construction of factories worth trillions of dollars. Legal work, forecasting, supply chain management, engineering, and most importantly, coding, where you can just speak to the machine and instruct it in plain English instead of a programming language, can save trillions of dollars. Elon Musk's idea to provide everyone with a human-like robot to handle the drone stuff and other nasty chores will cost trillions of dollars. It is definitely Shakespearean in nature. Perhaps it's Jensen's universe, and all the women and men are just players, I've been thinking. Alternatively, to use the more mundane bowling comparison, this quarter was so seismic that entire sectors flew in separate directions. Let's start with the advantages. We don't currently have enough electricity to meet all of these devices' demands, Jensen made plain. Power companies like Vistra and Constellation Energy rally as a result. It supports the data center plays, which means Eaton and Vertiv, the data center's picks and shovels, took off. Jensen mentions certain memory shortages, which could be caused by high-bandwidth CPUs. That's Micron, the MU symbol I see. I've been hoping that will work. What constitutes the backbone of plumbing are optical products. Yes, Amphenol Connector Company and Marvell Technology both received a shout-out, which caused their stock prices to soar. All of these pin actions are classic. After that, since you will be hearing this repeatedly, I would like you to put it in writing. Make sure you're prepared. Agentic AGENTIC is a term for a completely new computer paradigm in which your company has agents powered by Nvidia, with Salesforce, for example, receiving a lot of attention. Salesforce CEO Mark Benioff has been discussing his Agentforce product, which can generate billions of agents. Agentic. What does it signify? Allow me to illustrate. I wanted to discuss the findings of a test I took on Monday with a doctor today. When I called, I received the same recorded, automated fool who doesn't recognize me, with 4 options that went by so quickly that I had to have them repeated. I then hit 2 to talk to someone who might have some connection to the person I wanted to talk to, but they weren't. I then re-entered the line. I hit the 3 button. I spoke to a human there, but she was the wrong woman. She put me in touch with the appropriate person and recorded my number without getting my name. In any case, I never received a callback. I call in the agentic world. An agent responds. It recognizes my number, so it knows my name. It asks whether I want to talk to the doctor I visited earlier in the week and pulls up my medical history. When I replied in the affirmative, it would request a thorough message from me, which would then be forwarded to the physician. However, since it possesses all the information required to answer often requested questions, it would respond to the query on its own. It's agentic. Nvidia powers a talking, non-existent agent. You receive a human? I want the agent, not the human, I would remark. Salesforce, Accenture, and ServiceNow all take off. The same is true of the businesses that supported the process, such as Cadence, NetApp, and Nutanix. Oh, but since it's kind of funny, let me give you a tiny drawback. The stock of Microsoft is down $1.79 on a day of massive gains. Meta has lost $2.43. Tesla loses $2.39, and Amazon drops $4.50. Why? As these are the largest clients of Nvidia. We've been hearing the myth for nearly a year that the supply couldn't keep up with demand, that expenditure on Nvidia processors couldn't continue, and so on. However, those are a bunch of falsehoods. Due to the enormous payout, demand is increasing. Jensen claims that they make 5 smackers for every dollar his consumers invest, because they must be relevant in Jensen's world, or else they are forced to purchase Nvidia's chips. So don't worry about the notion that Nvidia's stock is about to plummet. The strikes that were rolled last night, in my opinion, were only the preliminary frames. It may be a brat, a hambone, a turkey, or even a 6-bagger that we are seeing. 3, 4, 5, or even 6 strikes, that's correct. Many frames, lots of gains. The final conclusion is that, although I never imagined saying it, I have run out of superlatives. It's impossible to describe how good things are at Nvidia. It is beyond our comprehension. Thankfully, Jensen has the technology and intelligence to do it for us, so we don't have to. If you require any additional clarity, please let me know.